All right, Tom, let's talk about the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors here. Is it time to move on from Ken Norton Jr.?
Buzz kind of growing here. There was a pretty good article in the Seattle Times about Norton and his future. And look, Pete Carroll has always been very loyal, especially to Ken Norton. He's been around there forever with him. So Norton, however, is currently in charge of one of the NFL's worst defenses. And he's coming under fire for that, and I think for good reason. So we'll break this all down here for you. But Norton, over his career, has almost only been with Pete Carroll.
Yep.
USC linebackers coach and went to the Seahawks from 2010 to 2014. Raiders defensive coordinator. He, by the way, got fired, as we'll discuss later, in 2017.
Yep.
Then was hired for like a week by the Niners as a defensive assistant. Seattle dumped Chris Richard, and they brought in Ken Norton, who had just been fired to be their DC. So there was already that kind of like, it's kind of a weird hire, but there were some players who I know were a big fan of this. The reason it's coming up right now is because Josh Allen just smoked him. 44 yards.
It's not just Josh Allen. It's the entire NFL.
Yeah, every NFL team has been lighting up the Seattle Seahawks. Look, you drop 40. You allow the opposing team to drop 44 points against you. And they actually had 7 sacks in this one. And that helps negate the passing yards number because NFL sacks count against passing yards.
Yep.
But Josh Allen himself had 415.
It's pretty good.
He had 400. I'm putting again 415 passing yards. And I know they're banged up in the secondary. But this defense this year, and this has been a consistent problem, they're not very good. Over 30 points per game allowed. That's bottom 3 in the NFL.
Yep.
Worst yards per game allowed, over 455. It's a massive figure. It's on pace to be the worst in NFL history, by the way. The passing yards are also dead last in the NFL. Now, I get it. They're banged up in the secondary, but that's bad. The rush defense has been good because why run it when you can throw it at will? That's a bit of a deflated number, I'll say, for rushing.
I kind of wish I could see Russell Wilson go up against this defense.
Oh, my God, he threw for 600. The takeaways have been this team's saving grace. They got 14. They're the second most per game in the NFL.
Yep.
But that's not enough for this team right now. And the reason why I think you're looking at Ken Norton and going, is this the right guy, is you can look at all of his stops as a defensive coordinator. This is based on DVOA. It's nerd numbers, but it compares it to the rest of the NFL, so it evens out for opposing teams and how much tempo you're doing on offense, for example. So it just levels the playing field. It's bad. He's never been anything more than average. 16th and 17th in 2018. He's actually 21st this year and last year. The numbers look worse from a volume perspective because, the offense is scoring more.
Correct.
And thus they're putting the defense back on the field, so they're giving them more chances to look bad, but the offense is carrying them anyway, so it's not the offense's fault. He got 30th when he was fired mid-year. Now, part of the reason why I think Norton has stuck around so long is that KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, who of course Norton was their position coach early on before he was the DC. Those guys like him a lot. And I think for good reason. I think Norton is a really good linebackers coach. I think everywhere he's gone, at least his stops, he's had a lot of success in the NFL and in college too, as a linebackers coach. And Wright and Wagner like him, and those are leaders on the defense. And it's tough to make a midseason change, but if things don't get better, you might have to.
All right, so should Seattle, say that 5 times fast, fire Ken Norton, type F for fire, type K for keep? I mean, I've seen this defense played literally like historically bad. The other thing that I'll say is you basically gave up you gave up 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, and Jamal Adams has been one of the worst safeties in the National Football League.
In coverage. He's been great in everything else.
Yes, but still, you give up 2 first-round picks. Fair. You expect him to be better than, I think right now he's the 79th ranked safety in terms of coverage from PFF. Not good whatsoever. Type F for fire, type K for keep.
Now, if you do fire Ken Norton, I think the reality is Pete Carroll will take on a bigger burden on defense.
Sure.
And he even called some plays this past game. I know Carroll said he took the blame for they called a blitz on 3rd and long and got beat on, and Carroll said, no, that was my call. Significant that the head coach was already calling plays on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it's never good.
And Carroll says he's done that before. It's not unique. Okay, that's suspicious to me. And if you do fire Ken Norton, these are not replacement guys. Andre Curtis, Clint Hurt, John Glenn, Nick Sorensen. Yes, that is the same Aaron Curry, by the way.
Okay.
The former bust draft pick from Aaron Curry. Those guys aren't great. What you might explore, and this was also mentioned by the Seattle Times, Dan Quinn, who of course is a former Seahawks defensive coordinator, knows Pete Carroll very well. The scheme is very easy. Making him defensive coordinator in the middle of the season is almost impossible.
Correct.
Because it is still a different defense at some level. There are some changes there. But what they might try to do is, what if you brought on Dan Quinn as a defensive assistant, helped him kind of, get up to speed, trying to help the defense. If it doesn't fix it, maybe you fire Ken Norton after the year ends, or even you fire Ken Norton, bring Quinn on as an assistant, and help Pete Carroll, who assumes the play calling responsibilities. That could be an option too.
So here are the Seahawks' next 5 games. You got the Rams, Cardinals. Both the offenses have been really clicking. The Eagles' offense, not great. Giants, Jets, gets a little bit easier.
Should get better week 12, 13, 14. They're kind of in the middle of the really tough part of their schedule.
It better,
because if it doesn't get better against those teams, then yeah, I think you do have to move on from Ken Norton probably sooner rather than later.